All right, here we are. We're recording. We're recording. Listen. Shh. We're on number 10 with Diego making a stack of pennies. He starts with 5, then he adds 1 at a time. A penny is 1.52 millimeters thick. Write an equation for the sequence that represents the height of his stack, right? So when he's got 5 pennies, how high is the stack? If a penny is 1.52 millimeters.
5. Wait.
5 times 1.52, right? The height, we'll call this h of n, is going to be 5 times 1.52. That's going to be, what'd you say? 7.6. And then the 6th penny, we're going to add 1.52, right? This is the number of pennies here. And what's that equal? 9.12. And then with 7 pennies, what's that going to equal? 11 point, right? No, 10.64. How much is it going up by each time? And what did it start with? All right, now that's the number of pennies here. So I'm going to start with n here. And if n is equal to 1, 2, then 3, I'm going to call this sequence P. Oh, no, it's H. Never mind, H. What is H of 1? What's H of 1? $7.6. And now it says we're going to write an equation for the sequence that represents the height of the stack, both recursively and for the nth term. What kind of sequence is this? Geometric, we multiply, right? What are we doing to the stack each time? We're adding 1.52 because each penny adds 1.52. So what kind is it? All right, I'm going to move up here a minute. And I'm going to remind you that an arithmetic sequence, recursively, it starts with, if you're starting with n equals 1, oh, never mind, that's for the nth term. We'll do that in a minute. Recursively. To get the nth term, what do you do to the previous term for an arithmetic sequence? Now multiply. You add. What do we call that? Yeah, it might be negative, right? But what do we call? The common difference, D. So if we wanted to find our sequence, what's our common difference, D? How much you add each time? 1.52. So if we want a recursive definition for this, it's going to be h of n equals what? You can say 1.52 first if you want to, plus h of n minus 1, the previous term, right? That's the recursive definition. Now it asks us for the nth term. And I'm going to go back up top and remind you about those nth term rules for an arithmetic sequence. For the nth term, for an arithmetic sequence, if we start with n equals 1, that means n of 1 is the first term. So in this case, your A sub n is going to equal your first term, which is A of 1, plus your common difference times n minus 1. If you started with n equals 0, because some of these sequences will start with n equals 0, it's going to be A of n equals A of 0, your first term, plus d times n. Down here in our sequence, we started with n equals 1. So I want an nth term definition, what I also call an explicit definition. It's going to say h of n equals, now y'all help me out. Which one of these rules am I going to use? Which rule am I going to use? N equals 1. So I'm going to write A of 1, and in our case, H of 1, right? Plus your common difference times n minus 1. So what is H of 1? 7.6. What's your common difference? Times n minus 1. That h of n equals 7.6 plus 1.52 times n minus 1 is your rule. I'm going to move it up for you some. Y'all can go try this at home, stacking pennies, right?
Yeah.
Someone said, what are you doing? You say, math. Wonder how high. What do you think a reasonable domain would be for this? How many pennies do you think you could stack like this at one time? You think you couldn't stack more than 10 pennies? If you got 25, what do you think will happen with the 26th one? Probably fall over, right? Eventually you get so high they'd be pretty unstable to put on there and it would fall over, wouldn't you think? Part B says, does h of 1.52 make sense? Y'all tell me what you think. Tell me what you think. Somebody said no. Who said no? Why do you think h of 1.52 would make no sense? Because you can't have 1.52 pennies, right? That's what that would mean, that you stack 1.52 pennies on the stack, right? And you say no. Because 1.52 pennies doesn't make sense.
What is that first word? No?
Yes. I guess if you had some precision cutting tools, you might be able to cut out 1.52 pennies, right? Well, I mean, it's probably illegal to put them in machines at them places too, but they might send me to jail for damaging pennies, right? Looking for a reason, right? Number 11. Let's see what time. Oh, wait a minute. We're 9 minutes in. We can't make a video longer than 9 minutes. Wait a minute.